Let's solve some more questions based on remainder and factor theorem. These are MCQs from previous papers. Now, first question is, if x minus 1 is a factor of this polynomial, then the value of a is which of the following? Now, let us understand the meaning of what is a factor. So, I'm sure that you will know what is a factor. For example, if I have a number 10 and I'm dividing with 1. So it is very much possible to do so. The quotient will be 10 and remainder is 0. There is no remainder. So I will say that 1 is a factor of 10. Similarly, if I do 10 divided by 2, the quotient is 5 and the remainder is again 0. So I will say that 2 is a factor of 10. But if I do 10 divided by 3, it will leave a remainder of 1. So I will say that 3 is not a factor of 10. Okay, so we know that when we have two numbers and we do division, if we find that there is no remainder, then the divisor is a factor of the dividend. So that is, suppose we know already what is remainder theorem, and we find that after finding the remainder is 0. That means that the divisor is a factor of the dividend. That is known as factor theorem. So factor theorem is just an extension of remainder theorem. So in this question, it is given that x minus 1 is a factor of this dividend. So that means, let's find out for what value of x is this divisor equal to 0. So if x minus 1 is supposed to be 0, x equals to 1. So for x equal to 1, the divisor is 0. So x equal to 1, if I substitute in the dividend and evaluate, that will be the remainder. And since it's given that x minus 1 is a factor of the dividend, the remainder we are expecting to be 0. So that means if I substitute x equal to 1 in the dividend, I will get 2 into 1 square minus a into 1. A is the unknown value here, minus 1. This is the value of the dividend. And we are expecting this equals to 0 because remainder we are expecting 0. Now we just solve this as a linear equation and we'll get the value of a. So this is 2 minus a minus 1 equal to 0. So that means we have 2 minus 1 is 1, minus a on the other side is a. So a equals to 1. So option B, a equals to 1 is correct. Moving ahead in the next question. It is given that x square minus 4 is a factor of this cubic polynomial. Cubic polynomial means the highest exponent on x is 3. And the divisor is given as x square minus 4. So this is a quadratic polynomial. The highest power of x is 2. So x square minus 4 is a factor of this cubic polynomial. Then its factors are. Its means the cubic polynomial's factors are which of the following. Or let's say when the cubic polynomial is factorized into, if we see the options, there are 3 linear factors, linear polynomials. Linear polynomial means the highest exponent of x is 1. Now for example, if I have a number 30, 30 can be prime factorized as 2 into 5 into 10 or 2 into 5 into 3. The same way, if I have a cubic polynomial, suppose something with x cube, that can always be factorized into 3 linear factors. Most of the times, may not be always, but a cubic polynomial may be factorized and you will get 3 polynomials, 3 linear polynomials, something with x. So they are trying to ask us this question here, that this cubic polynomial, when factorized completely into linear factors, which is the correct factorization. Now let's look at the given information. Given is that x square minus 4 is already this factor of the cubic polynomial. For example, if I look at the example of 30, 2 into 5 is 10. I can say that 10 is also a factor of 30. So then 10 can be broken down into 2 and 5. So the individual numbers 2 and 5 are also factors of 30. So if I can factorize this x minus 4 further, then those factors of x minus 4 are also factors of this cubic polynomial. Now x minus 4 is same as the format of a square minus b square. x square minus 2 square. So this is x plus 2 into x minus 2. So I know that x plus 2 and x minus 2 are both factors of the cubic polynomial. Then if I look at the options C and D don't have an x plus 2. They only have x minus 2's. So C and D cannot be the correct answer. It can either be A or B because A and B have x minus 2, x plus 2. The third factor, the third linear factor is either x plus 1 or x minus 1. Now there are two options available to me. I can either do a long division polynomial. I can divide the cubic polynomial with x square minus 4 and the quotient will be a linear polynomial, and that is the third factor. That is one option. Otherwise, we only have two possibilities. Either x plus 1 or x minus 1 is a factor of the cubic polynomial. So we can apply factor theorem to test which one will be the factor of the cubic polynomial. If I take x plus 1, for what value of x is x plus 1 0? For x equal to minus 1, the polynomial x plus 1 is 0. So if I substitute x equal to minus 1 in the cubic polynomial, I will get minus 1 cube plus minus 1 square minus 4 into minus 1 minus 4. And if I evaluate this, this is minus 1 plus 1 plus 4 minus 4. So it becomes 0. So that means x plus 1 is definitely a factor of the cubic polynomial. So that means the entire option A, this is the factorization for the cubic polynomial. So option A is correct.